Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's kick things off with our disclaimer. The content presented on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. All opinions expressed are solely those of the presenter and are based on publicly available information. Investing and trading involve risk, including the potential loss of principal. Always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful Monday, fall smooth Monday morning. Let's jump on the chart over here. All right. So I'm just going to start out with this 15-minute time frame. Just take a look at what we've been doing all weekend long, which is basically consolidating and going higher. We've been putting in these little ranges, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. We've seen two breakdowns in here from set ranges and a break back up to the upside. You see how volatile it got after it broke the low here? See how volatile that move got there? See how we broke the low of this triangle right here? And afterwards, how volatile the move became. I actually caught this one right here, and I'm still holding on to this one, this particular move here. And right now, we're putting in some sort of a consolidation within the channel formation. Nothing has been broken just yet. We're just still consolidating within this range. We've been rejecting here from around anchored VWAP. I actually posted on this here over the weekend. I posted on it over the weekend, but it was also the VWAPs that I shared on the channel on Friday. So though I had like 3 or 4 VWAPs here on Friday, and all 3 of those were respected to an extent. They were all respected, and this was the last one here around this support resistance level that you see there. So if you're not following me on X, please follow me on X. I don't post a lot, so you don't have to worry about getting overwhelmed. Like, there may be a day where I do, and basically it'll be around stuff in the stock market for the most part, just recapping and catching up. But here was this is what I had on my chart on Friday, and I just just put it back out there again. We were looking at this VWAP here after this move here. We ended up breaking above it. We got a small reaction there. We broke above it. We came back in and we back tested it and we held there. And then this was the next VWAP right here, the next important VWAP right here. And we got a decent reaction right in here as well. I think this was the triangle. The first time we broke down out of the triangle and we got that volatile move, it came from right here. And then, of course, this was the last one right here. So this is where you see price action at right now. So we had the initial rejection here. We came back up again, and then we tapped this again. So that's where we are. Not a lot of people cared, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you, this is where we were on the last rejection, and now we've broken above it and rejected once again from here. So follow me on X at Down the Crypto TA. You can also follow the Coin King on X as well, and that is with a D and an A, David and Alpha. Okay. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. Like I said, I am still holding along just because the market has been insistent on trying to go higher in here. It's been seeing some rejections, but it has been insistent upon going higher. So I haven't tried to take many shorts in here. In fact, I didn't do much trading this weekend at all. Just yesterday, I finished up with some stuff, and then I managed to grab this last night before going to bed, and I've already TP'd twice on this. First TP was taken right here. And then the second TP was taken. I don't remember because I don't remember, but I am still holding this little trade right here. The reason why I got into this trade, despite the crazy movement, was the 1 hour time frame. So let me minimize some of the noise I have in here. It was because of the 1 hour. So right here, you know how I'm a momentum trader for one, but right here, when price dropped down into here, it didn't align with this low here. So momentum was moving a lot faster than price action in this case, instead of them both being in the coordinates. And that was what made me say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take this long on this position right here because when the math ain't mathing, we gotta do some recalculating. So that's how I made my decision on that one. The same thing could have been done, excuse me for that smacking. The same thing could have been done over here on the 15-minute time frame. Also, it was actually not this one right here. It was I think it was this right here. I think it was this right here. And it was this, yeah, it was this right here on this move right here. Like I said, I got a little busy. I got a little busy this day with the graduation party, and so I really didn't have time to entertain too much. But you could have caught that one right here, based on that difference here, based on that difference. Uh, yeah. So that is where I was using that one at that time. But the one that you saw below here, I never came back in to look at any of this that afterwards. Just the 1 hour time frame. So let's see. Let me get this out of the way. Of course, let me get this out of the way too. I was using that to just remind myself of where my cloud was at, my high and my low of my cloud, just to see what we were doing in here without having to have all that extra noise on the chart there. On Friday, we were doing okay. So first of all, we know that we swept this liquidity right here, and this is where price action started to hold after we got the drop down. It started holding there. Period. Point blank. Let me take away liquidity here. Actually, let me take away these 4 hour levels as well. So we took the liquidity from this little range right here, and then this is where we started to consolidate. At this point, you can also see it in the RSI. I remember on Friday saying, we breaking it, but we going sideways. I don't really trust it like that because I like to see the momentum actually just pop up. We broke through it, but we were just going sideways, and then all of a sudden we got the sporadic move up. Okay. So so far, so far, I mean, like I was saying to you in the update on X, is during this entire time, even though I could see that we did this, I still like to see momentum come back up. And we did come back up, and we were trying to hold the range. And I was saying on Friday also that you can see that bulls were trying to step in. They were trying to step in here in this zone. And then we got that one last little push down, which was to maybe freak people out of the market. And then we got this nice pop here to the upside. We've also been rejecting from this low part of this channel right here. We've also been rejecting from this as well. So you can plot that on your chart to just know where we're rejecting that. You don't have to use the VWAPs like I had. I may still have all those freaking VWAPs over here too. I might. But I can take this away. Take that away. Actually, tell you what. Let me do it like that. Just turn off those indicators there so we can see what's going on. So yeah, we've just been rejecting, coming up, rejecting, coming up, rejecting. Maybe it will break back in. The last time we were looking at price action crawl its way up a ascending trend line was USDT dominance. This was the last time we were looking at something like this, and then eventually USDT dominance broke back in. Because if you keep hammering at something, you're gonna break it, right? You keep hammering at it. So if price continues to smash this trend line here, eventually it's gonna break. It's gonna come back inside this range. It doesn't change the narrative of it, but it does indicate some underlying strength. Bitcoin looks weak as crap in my opinion. I don't really care for the 4 hour, I mean the daily time frame more than anything. I don't really care for the daily time frame right now. But if you just keep chopping away at something, eventually you will manage to succeed and get back inside. So this is what I'm talking about. The last time we saw something like that was here, and USDT dominance kept coming back to our trend line right here before eventually breaking it and then getting this move right here. Could something like that be on the horizon for Bitcoin? Again, I'm not a fan of the daily time frame right now, but if we put in some bullish divergence, which we haven't managed to do just yet off of that daily, and maybe we don't even get it, we could be seeing us break back into that. If you wanted to call it a bear flag, I'm just referring to it as an ascending channel. We break back into that, then we will maybe just continue consolidating like so. But that is what I am watching here on Biddy. Is eventually, if we just keep coming back to this trend line, we're going to pop through this trend line and stop rejecting. There won't be any more sellers in here, or buyers will overwhelm sellers right through here, and we'll get a break back inside here. Let me put a little music on. I don't have any music going. Put on my basic chill music here. All right. I'm still, I'm gonna keep this here. Like I said to you the other day, I don't really. It's just something that's here right now. I'm entertaining the idea of something like this. It doesn't mean that's gonna happen, but look at how perfect that little move down that we were, that we were measuring out for that VWAP rejection here for Bitcoin. That was a nice little play here on this daily time frame here. Um, this may be something. I need to actually go back and I need to go back and reconsider this. That may not be it. So don't take that number right there into heart because that may not be it. But it was in my notes in here. It's just something that I had worked up in my notes in here. Um, but I uh, may have to reconsider this scenario here. So here's what I'm not really caring for on the daily. Let me see what all noise I have on over here, first of all. Okay, I don't have a ton of noise going on. So I was using the QTD here on the daily. We are below the cloud, and you can see our scale line right here, which was breaking in, and then you can see where it comes in and it actually starts to roll over and break down, and then you can see us pushing back into it for another breakdown, and then we're bear flagging. Well, I'm not gonna say bear flagging, but we have bearish divergence in here right now. Um, on this daily time frame, we do have a little bearish divergence, but that's to be expected. That's to be expected, and the reason for that, of course, is because look at how strong this move right here, how strong this move down here was. So it's a strong move to the downside. So we're coming up and we're consolidating and going higher, which means we're going to put in some bearish divergence, and then we're going to come back down and test the lows, possibly for a higher low, and then we could find some momentum to the upside potentially. Potentially, I feel like we're grinding the same way we grinded over here. I feel like we're on the verge of this sort of grind here again, but I could be wrong. I can be wrong. I'd like to see price action. We didn't do what I was expecting for us to do right in here, which is usually a good signal. But when we got above it, we didn't get the follow through. You can see our white line actually turned down, and we didn't get the follow through because when it usually does this sliding situation right here, when this cloud starts doing this waterfall thing here, um, you usually see an explosive move to the upside. I call it a jack and a beanstalk because you get a hole in the ground right here, and then this white line sprouts up and price action goes with it, but we didn't get the follow through right here. It just kept falling down, falling down, falling down, and then eventually breaking the lower end, which is a bearish situation. And then we fell completely down, just like over here. Um, just like over here, you can see how the scale line just rolls down, rolls down, rolls down, and then once it actually caps. Now this is different because this is a bearish setup right here. But this one right here, I was expecting something different from this one, and unfortunately, we just didn't get it. We just didn't get it. So, um, but I'm not really digging this daily time frame right now. Not really digging the daily time frame right now. If anything, we were looking out for the capitulation here on momentum, of course. The capitulation here on momentum was here, and that's where you bounce. So what now? That's what we all want to know. Like what now? Like this is decent. I'm gonna say it is decent because we're trying to push above 40. So it is decent. But the only problem I have with this trying to push above 40 is the ribbons may not be aligning with it. So when I take a look here at no, we are. It is. It is aligning with it. So you can see us trying to get above that 40 right here. Actually, let me take this away. That's done. I'm just living the glory days. You know how that's done, living the glory days. But right here, we are trying, but we are seeing some sort of a rejection right in here as well on this daily time frame. So this is your 40 at your RSI. If we do manage to push through, then I would be looking at a mean reversion, which means your RSI pushes up to its midpoint. By the time we do something like that, we probably would close it out, especially if we wick below it. We probably close out with some bearish divergence right there. But it does insinuate that there is a chance that we could come up to about 66. I'm going to say 66.5. Okay, that's what I'm going to call it. Just round that number out, 66,500. We could do something like that for a mean reversion here. Right now, I'm really leaning towards on the higher spectrum, maybe about 70,000. Maybe about 70,000 is what I'm thinking. I was doing some VWAP analyzing here on the weekly time frame, and I'm toying with a different variation of how I anchor my VWAPs. So I'm just toying with it. So the way I'm anchoring it right here is based on volume. So the same way you would use a fixed volume range, I suppose. Actually, with a fixed volume range, you're going from you're analyzing from your sidebars in here. And here I'm analyzing from the lower bar. So this is your volume over time. I'm toying with the volume over time to anchor the VWAP for where price action may find some support or potential resistance. So that's what I'm toying with now, as opposed to how I usually do it, which is using a trend line. I usually plot them off of a trend line, and any candle that touches that trend line is where I plot the anchor VWAP. But again, in this case, I'm doing it a little different because sometimes it can be very difficult for people to figure out like where they need to draw their fixed volume range from. If you're one of those people that have that issue, like, where do I anchor this set and where do I stop pulling it from? If you're one of those people that's having an issue with that, then this is a good way of doing it. Now you're gonna end up with a bunch of lines on your chart. You're gonna end up with a bunch of lines on your chart. But if for as far as I don't know why I'm stuttering today, as far as a range goes, I like to do it like this. So I just look at where the consolidation is. Let me just change this to a basic box here. This was the highest candle right here coming into the consolidation. So I don't want to go past where we leave this consolidation zone. So if I'm drawing a fixed volume range personally, this is one way I would do it. The other way I do it is an inside bar. I mean a mother bar. I would put it on a mother bar. But if it's me, then I would go from here to here, because after that, that candle breaks outside of the range. I don't wanna look at that. So this is how it would be done for me. And then you have your value area low. If you depend on that more than, support and resistance levels, because to each its own. If you depend on that more than this, then that's what you would get. Now, another thing that I like to do in here too is add an anchor VWAP to it, right? I stopped doing this for a little while, but I really like the idea of it. So I'm looking at this. This would be your volume over price, which is your bars that you would usually see, like this right here, that come out horizontally. Your vertical bars at the bottom is your volume over time. So in this area, let's take a look at the volume. You can see where your highest spike in volume comes from right here, this bar right here. So you can see where this VWAP is anchored at is this candle right here. And so then you can see outside of this area where price may come back to respect, to respect, to respect, just like that. So using volume over price along with volume over time to determine where institutional money may be playing it, especially when you're respecting it. Now, I don't want to use volume over time in an area where we did not consolidate. I only want to look at it in an area where we did see some consolidation. So if we get a spike in volume and we get a decent sized candle with that volume, then I want to anchor a VWAP to it and that consolidation range as well. So that's what I'm looking at in here as I toy around a little bit. Um, I will come back to this situation right here later, later. But if we do, which I'm not saying that we are, not right now, I'm not. I know that we've already determined that we would be looking at this area right here. If for some reason, actually, let me put these VWAPs together right here. Uh-oh. Mm, and I'm just gonna call this overtime in this folder right here. So if we do um, lose this zone right here, which is this shelf of support and resistance here, then I will be looking down to 51 to 46 or 47, however you want to put it. 40, 52, we'll just round these numbers up and say 52 to 47 is what I'd be looking at for price action to come back to, which is in line with our bear market territory. It is in line with our bear market territory. Actually, we should not be coming below this point right here, but can we do it? We can. We broke it a little bit over here as well when we drop below this point right here. We ended up breaking the cloud, um, which like I've shown you has marked the lows for each bear market. You come back into that cloud, and then price doesn't deviate beyond that. We've seen some altcoins where we did this time actually just nuke straight through, but Bitcoin is one of those that has never been disrespectful to it. So it does tend to mark the low. It marks this candle right here as the low. If we were to drop all the way down to the bottom of the cloud, it would mark it right here. And I have shared that. And you would do it from a monthly. We've already tapped it. I could have sworn that it was right here. Yeah, I guess not. I guess not. This is supposed to mark our low. Wow. I must have missed something along the way. I could have sworn. Oh, I see what happened. I see what happened. The cloud moved up. Back in the days before we started getting this move down, it was right here. So you can see where it marks it right here for this low right here. But since then, the cloud has been coming up, marking this as our low. But like I said, here you can see that here it tapped us out at this candle right here initially, but we ended up breaking it ever so slightly right there. We broke it, and you can see that that doesn't happen any other time. It doesn't happen any other time. It doesn't happen anywhere else. That marks the low. Is it the low? Ooh, I guess we're gonna find out, right? We're gonna find out. Um, but that tends to mark our low. I did not realize that this cloud had got a rise. But see, we got a slight. Wow. Okay. I'm just okay. It usually marks the low though. Things can be broken. I mean, think about Plan B, who's a phenomenal analyst, and he has some really great tools. Um, Things fail every now and then. They do fail every now and then, but this typically marks a low, unless Bitcoin is preparing to follow suit. Make sure I didn't have this in here already. Unless Bitcoin is planning to follow suit, like some of the altcoins have done, that would say that this is our low. And we discussed also in here how price action tends to come back to previous highs and hold previous highs as support. So you have this previous high here on the weekly time. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not the weekly. You have this previous high here from the weekly, which is these highs over here, of course. Um, you have the time before, which is here, which was this area right in here. And you can go on and go backwards with this, but that's where we tend to come back to. If I just, there's so many ways of analyzing it at this point. What's right, what's wrong. Aside from that, the only other thing I guess I would look at is to say that we were to break that cloud a little bit, it would probably be will probably be between this rising line right here, just coming in for a little bit more, or possibly, like I said, this area right here, this area right here. That's a lot more of a break but it tends to mark the low. It has been very, very successful in marking the low. It has been very successful in marking the low, I have to say that. Uh-oh. And then, of course, we were looking at let me turn this back on. And then, of course, we were looking at, I mean, the same thing, just looking at it from a monthly perspective, um, but where the shelf life is here, for the prior highs as support here, and Anchor VWAP once again um, in here, which this one is just based on again trend line, and then we have, of course, the channel, the channel right here. I know. Let's see what's going to happen in here right now with Bitcoin on this 15-minute time frame. I don't think I'm going to have anything in here right now, any sort of a setup or anything like that at the moment. The one that happened over the weekend, that's done. So uh, it's basically just consolidation at this point and trying to get above this region right here, which I mean, 4 hours really, really trying. It's really trying to hang in there. It's trying its best to hang in there. I was a little spooked out yesterday right in here, but like I said, I didn't let that stop me from taking that long entry um, on Bitcoin. Just as a weekend play. I didn't let that stop me when we did that. I said I based it on the 1 hour time frame and when momentum dropped into this area right here. So just waiting with the rest of the little position, which isn't much. Uh, the weekend. I don't want to play around too much, right? Don't want to play around too much with the weekend. All right. So I did give an Ave. We were talking about Ave on stream. Let me do this situation right here. Excuse me. Um, I have since been stopped out of the Ave position, unfortunately. As we were rising and we were respecting this ascending trend line right here, I kept raising my stop up for the moment that when we break this, I no longer wanted to be in it because at that point we could be rolling over. So um, that's what happened with me in here. As long as price was respecting this trend line right here, I was cool with it to ride this up. We kept respecting this low right here. We had already got the drop into the 382. We got a bounce up. We came back and back tested the area of potential support, which was this low right here, which I think I pulled this off of a daily or something like that. I think so. Um, and so I entered a long position here on Aave because we looked at it on Friday on stream. And if this is going to be the case, like I said, if this is like a wave four or something like that, then we never know when this is going to end. I'd be looking for price action to come up here. That's what I'd be looking for. But again, I am no longer in this position. I did get stopped out of this position. Let me see if as I was moving my stop loss higher, as I was moving my stop loss higher. Um, and this ended up being my final, oh, minus Bitcoin, sorry. Um, tells me I'm successful, but then yeah, so that was the Ave play for me. This was the last time that I took profit on it as I was moving the stock up. And then I got stopped out of the rest of the position. So um, when we got this breakdown right here. So I'm no longer in this setup. I do think it's still viable. I do. Um, but it is moving a lot with Bitcoin. So if there's a reason I feel like getting back into it, then I will. Let me just slide these two out right here. This is coming in with that VWAP. Still a great support zone down here. I don't know. Um, I don't know if I still want to entertain it. We haven't tapped into this top level right here just yet, and maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. But you can see how we again broke down below here, and now we're trying to hold it again. I could readjust this here. Um, maybe set it for that. I don't want it to be off too much. Yeah, set it for that. Kind of capture these lows in here and make sure I'm not. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah. And then you can see the little falling structure in here to break it back to the upside. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I hate to be in the trade and then it starts doing this, but that's what we got. But this was the Aave situation, and I posted the setup. Um, when what was price action at the time? Yeah, it was at we're at the trend line because we talked about it, and then I went on to to highlight. Okay, we're respecting this one, two, three, four taps into this ascending trend line right here, and then you can see that shelf of support coming in right there at 72.21. And what I'm looking for it, we had since broken out of this this channel formation right here. We did break above this, and then we came back inside of it. So I deleted that from the chart. So you're not going to see that. But this is the setup right here. And if anybody here that follows me took that, then I hope that it continues to work out for you. Like I said, I got stopped out and I got busy, and I'm not willing to go back in at this point. I'm not because we're too far away from this low. Now, the other thing that I posted on, I did mention hype because I was telling you not to entertain this on Friday. Um, something I was looking at because we were holding right here. I just didn't want you to blindly entertain it. Um, but that played out, and you can see we haven't really gone too far up above it before getting rejected. I did have a zone that I was looking at a little bit higher just in case it decided it wanted to do something like that. We have since bounced off of the last little one I have in here, which is here, which is like a 30 on the RSI. Let's see if we did that. 30. I think we did 32. Okay. So not bad at all. We ended up bouncing from there. And now we're somewhere around the mean is what this is telling me, which is correct. So what you want to see is price get above 68 and flip that into support. Above 60, I'm sorry, above 60. 60 on your RSI. It'll be 68, 352 right here. You tend to get really nice impulsive moves when you can get above that, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just comes back into it and it rejects. But got nothing here unless we are seeing like a strong push above this 68.35 there, above that 68.35. Um, Hyperliquid. See if there's anything else in here that I could pay attention to. Let me look at the 4 hour. I did have us rejecting from a channel right here, but we went a little sideways outside of that channel at this point because when I was posting on it, I was telling you that we were seeing a little bit of rejection in here on Hyperliquid. Um, this is where we had got to at this time, and I had this channel in here, and you can see us put a few wicks in right there, but we were holding the mean right here, and then we just kind of crawled our way out, but just sideways, just crab walking right here before dropping down. Actually, you know what? Let me see. I'm gonna put that back and see if we just saw it with the um, change this to a 1 hour. Um, how I ended up drawing the channel was drawing it from the lows. Ended up drawing it from the lows, connecting the high. Let me see if that. Let me see what's happening here. Extended in both directions. I just wanted to see if we came back in and back tested on this. We didn't. So just these lows through here. These lows through here. Did I ever use this at any point? I don't know if I used this ever at any point, but let's just go ahead and make it a shelf. We'll make it a floating shelf. Those worked back when we were analyzing those. So let's just make it a shelf. Right here. Yeah. I just like the color, so I know it's not a daily level. And I guess I'll put the text up under it that it was prior support. So PS means prior support. PR means prior resistance. You know, it doesn't matter. Support and resistance. It doesn't matter. Only thing I could see it doing is making another move up here unless we dropping down. That's the only thing I could make out of it for Hyperliquid. All I would really have is going to be this high to this high in here now. If it pushes up, if you're looking for a rejection point for it, it could be that. I'm just going to box it out. I'm going to change it to a regular box. It could be something like this. I'm going to keep it basic. I can slide this through so it's not in the way of candles. Um, and let's give that other thing a shot in here. It's the only place we have some good volume off of this 1 hour. I don't know what that means. I really don't. In this case, I'm just gonna put it right here. It'll pop it off of the candle. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with this. Um, I think if I want to change these colors. Doesn't really matter, huh? Let's make that one a darker blue. But yeah, that's what we have right now. Price is being held down at this point right here. Um, to the upside, I'm still gonna have to go with this. I'm still gonna have to go with this zone. I'm always gonna put support and resistance levels above everything. So to the upside, if we manage to get a move into here, um, I would consider this to be a rejection place, possibly a rejection point. You can choose to go with VWAPs, but I'm always gonna use support and resistance levels first. Always, 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 always. Right. So that's something to watch for height. Let me change this stuff to red. To red. Like that. Alright, so that's 71 to 72 to the upside. We lose that. Let me see if we have any, put on band 2. Let's see what comes in on band 2 at the low. We'll be back to the low right here, support potentially. I like my ribbons better, but I'm experimenting, so, you know, it's good to experiment. I'm always trying to keep flooding myself with education when it comes to, analyzing the market. So that's what I'll look at there. Alright. The other thing that I did give an update on is the triple Vs. I gave an update on the triple Vs on here. So, what you will find as I'm trying to, and I took a short position on these Vs. Now, mind you, I did not get in at the best place. I did not. I actually got in right here. Was it right here or was it? It's probably right. It was probably right in. Where did I get in at? It might have been right in here, because I think the stop loss I set the stop loss for yeah, I set the stop loss for right here because I could see that we were rejecting. Yeah, we were rejecting from this area right here. So I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna jump in here and give it a shot." Jump in here and give it a shot. I don't know right now, but I could see us holding. I could see us holding. Like we were going so slow, just holding. Like, man, we probably not gonna break down. I should just go ahead and close out this trade. But I stuck to it. I stuck to it and said, okay, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna hold it and let it just stop me out. Just let it stop me out. I minimize the position size a lot. I saw this little channel formation in here. I figured price could potentially come back up into this channel, but I'm not raising my stop up here to say if it comes. No, I'm not doing all that because if it for me, if it got past this right here, this was good enough for me to say, you know what, it might go higher. It might go higher. So I'm charting it out, just looking at Elliott wave on it, and right now I'm really trying to determine if whether or not this consolidation range right here is a wave four on the weekly time frame. It could potentially be a wave four on the weekly time frame, potentially. And we did see a break of structure right here. We got a BOS right here, and I post this on X. We got a BOS right here, but we haven't actually broken. We haven't actually changed. Haven't got a change of a chop, the change of character just yet because we need to break this low right here. We need to break this one, and then that way we'll have a low, a higher low. No, sorry, a lower high, and then another lower low. So we'll have a lower low, a lower high, and then another lower low, and I can feel more confident in it. I could see this trend line rising right here, and I figured if we could break this, but we didn't. We bounced. We bounced. If we could break that, then my trade would be successful. But unfortunately, we don't break. Trying to see if I included. Yeah. So you can see right here, this is before we get to the trend line. But then we got down here to it and we got that bounce right here. 4 hour, 4 hour, 4 hour. Yeah. Yeah, we ended up coming back down into it and bouncing up from it. So we got that big green candle after we tapped it again. Actually, we didn't tap it right here. We were off from tapping it right there. And so you can see on my chart where we actually tap it, and then you get that large candle that pushes price up into the channel that you can't see right here, into the channel that you can't see right here. Um, but I was thinking that price action was showing some respect to this low right here, and that we could potentially get this breakdown. The other thing that I put in here is the fact that price has this channel now. If I could connect this high and this high here and drop it to this low, then there is a midpoint here in the center where you can see price respects that midpoint right here. And then price bounces off of that midpoint right here. And again, as I put in here, all this really tells me is that at some point over time, if this continues to be respected, that the V's could come back to the low of this channel at some point over time. It didn't mean that it would happen right in here, but in some point over time, then that was a possibility. And this is all that other stuff that you see on my chart. I did change my fib to the golden pocket 786. This is the 50 and 382 pull from this high here. And I just changed it to the pull from here because if I'm speculating on the possibility of this breaking down and actually moving into a wave three, then that would work using the golden pocket 786. So I'm saying that this triangle formation right here could potentially be the start of where we get that wave one drop, wave two back into the 786 golden pocket, and then a wave three to the downside. But we got that bounce up. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work right now. I don't know. And this is just that midpoint of that channel again right here. So you can see it up closer from a different time frame. It's the midpoint of that channel. So I don't know if that's gonna happen right now. These look like it's trying to pop up, which is why I made sure to say, look, I don't know if this is um a top or if it's just, all of this consolidation in here is a way for of a larger structure. So when I do, well, you see what we broke right here. We got this breakdown right here. When we broke this momentum, because remember I was shorting the V's up here. I was shorting the V's in here, and then I stopped because we kept doing this crap right here, and it just I don't have time for that. I don't have time for I can't deal with that. I honestly can't deal with it. So checking back on Bitcoin. All right. Because it was giving me money and then popping back up and doing all this crazy stuff right here, I decided to leave it alone. In fact, the last time I was like, I'm gonna take a long off of it. It did work. It did give a long, but I think I didn't even pursue it further. I didn't pursue it further. So because we got this move back above this line right here. We got this move above this line. I was like, you know what, that's pretty strong right there. I'm gonna go ahead and take an entry on it, and it did one small little rejection right here, and I was like, hell no, I'm out. But it ended up being a five-way move to the upside. Ended up being a five-way move to the upside. So it looks like it's trying. I had a trend line in here, well, actually a momentum line right here, so I could see it, and I could see how we kept. You can see how we kept holding through here. We kept holding through here, and we were so close to 40. Like it can go either way. And then we got this bounce that it actually came down and tapped the trend line that time, and then you end up getting this candle right here into the into this little descending channel formation right there. Quick rejection off of that momentum and underneath this momentum now, but it looks like it's trying to break to the upside. And if it does that, then you'll get a strong move out of the V's right here. So it should line up with the red moving average since we're around 60. It should be trying to get above that. It is above it here, which makes it bullish in my opinion. That makes it bullish because it's above it. Anytime I look at it and it doesn't match with the lower end, doesn't match with the actual oscillator, then I say that, it has some strength in it, that it's going to continue up from here. You got a cross right here, referencing your MACD as a positive MACD cross to the upside. I think I have the settings slightly different here on the V's. Um, I think I have those settings different. I do. I have the settings in here different. I saw this too. So this is the faster settings that I have laid out here on the V's right now, using a different source code other than the close. So you can see it as I'm deciding, you know what, I'm going to try the support and resistance level, take the short right here, take the short based on this. Because it was rejecting from right here, and you know what? You short resistance. You short resistance. So I made my attempt. I made my attempt. I was up a little bit and then I wasn't. I was up a little bit. I didn't take anything off of that because I'm holding it for a bigger purpose. And so I ended up giving a little bit of capital to the market. That's it. And like I said, I put the stop loss under this one. Put the stop loss under this one. This was gonna be too high for me. I just wasn't really willing to. I think it would have been like a liquidation level. No, liquidation was higher. Liquidation was higher. It was up here somewhere because I dropped it down to a 10x. You use anything higher than that on these V's, honey, your money will be gone. It will be gone. But it worked a little while and then it stopped me out. So I like it. I like it. I like this. It could be. That doesn't match. So I would say the strength is in the possibility of it moving higher, which maybe it is a 4. We'll find out. Um, but on a rejection, I don't know how strong it's going to get. I would still consider the possibility of a rejection here. If you were to see a strong move out, I would consider that. I would consider that maybe it could. It has to invalidate this right here, though. It has to invalidate this point right here. But for now, on a smaller scale, you do have higher lows and higher highs at the moment. So lots of resistance through here. Lots of resistance through here. Me, I think I have a fixed range in here on this. I think I do. I do. Yeah, I did notice this too. Let me extend this out. I did pay attention to this when I made my decision also. I paid attention to that as well. It didn't quite matter to me. And that's because I'm falling on support and resistance levels. Let me turn off analysis. Let me turn off analysis. I need to put this in here. And my highs and my nope. Consolidation. Yeah. To me, all of the price action was right in here. Like if there was going to be any sort of um, kickback, from the triple V's, it was gonna come in right here. So I didn't care for how, this lined up to it. I didn't care for how that lined up to it. It was all right in here for me. I treated this like it needs to come back above this, which is not far off from this value area low. It's not far off from it, but for me, the activity is in here. It's in here. Um, and you can see how when it came up, like it wasn't rejecting from this. It wasn't rejecting from this value area low, which is why I put support and resistance level over it. It was rejecting from here, rejecting from this low right here. So wherever I have a strong swing point is what I like to look at. Do I have swing points in here? That means I need to add some circles. I need to add my circles. I love my circles. But wherever we have a strong swing point, to me, that's where your resistance come in. Strong swing point was right here. So naturally, that'll be a resistance level for me. A strong swing point was right here. It didn't work. It managed to get through it. It managed to get through it. So I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And that's what I like to look at on these V's. Let me drag these out a little bit. And then I'm gonna take a I'm gonna turn you off. You pull this out. Right here. I like the chart right now though. I don't like I don't know. I don't think that there are enough people in this for it to move the way it moves. So that's why I give it such a hard time. I'm always looking to short it. Always looking to short this thing, don't think. Let's take a look here. Let's put some volume on here. Actually, let me see what we look like on the RSIs in here. This still looks good on the weekly, which is another reason why I'm not sure what we're actually doing in here. Because when I take a look at the weekly, like to me, it could be a 4. It could be, which is confusing for me. I mean, that is if I'm doing, uh, something like this. And let's just say that there's another move up. And then, like I said, maybe back. mm, Maybe back into this channel right here. However that goes. Maybe that. Maybe that's why it's consolidating right here the way it is. To do that one more time. And then maybe after that, it comes all the way down here. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. So maybe. But this is still really nice. 67.2 on our RSI here on the weekly. Oh, that was the thing. Right here on the weekly, well, I was showing you that where you see price action break that trend to the upside is where you also see it break momentum right here. So on that ascending move up, where I say it first breaks momentum in this rising formation, it also breaks momentum here on the weekly. Now the math isn't mathing. That is a fact. The math is not mathing here, which means sure, it can get the swing back up. It did end up breaking this ascending trend line right here. But aside from this ascending trend line, I like to look at horizontals because It didn't break anything right in here though. I would like to see it break something right here and then reclaim. If it's not gonna break anything, then I'm just looking forward to reclaim back in here. It's probably gonna be a little bit too late right there, which is why I like to look at the horizontal levels, whether it be this one, which it could have tapped it on that move down and bounced away from it, and you never noticed it. You'll never notice it because you didn't have an alert set up on this. But that is what is this little right here or this little right here. I actually like the red candles better. I like that one better. Mm, if it were to do this, I'm buying. I'm buying. This part right here wouldn't matter. I'm buying. If it was to drop down into here, I'm like, oh heck yeah, I'm buying. I don't really trust it just yet. But again, like I said, when it broke that momentum on that 4 hour, it also broke it here. And but it went, I mean, I don't know. It's not a bad looking chart. Let me just say that. It's not a bad looking chart. I can give it hell. I can give it hell just because I don't really I don't really care for it. Nice little pop on Bitcoin. I'm gonna jump back over here to Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at some other stuff. I'm gonna jump back over to Bitcoin right now. The V's. The V. The V. If it's breaking, ooh, if it's breaking, maybe I'll jump into a long. I don't know. I don't really like this thing. I could jump into a long. Hmm. None of that looks bad. It looks like it's preparing to break out. It looks like it's gonna break out. All right, I'm gonna take it long. I'm gonna set a really tight stop loss. I'm gonna set it for this low right here. I really am not a fan of this triple V stuff. I'm really not a fan of these triple Vs, but I will hopefully not give the market some money on it. Be mad and be like, I knew I should have been trying to short you. I knew I should just short you. But I'm gonna give you a shot. I'm gonna give you a shot. These, in case you do decide that you want to break up. In case you do decide that you want to break up. All right, I took long on that, and dang, how much am I gonna lose? I'm gonna cut this already. I feel like cutting it. I feel like cutting it in half already. I'm gonna have to move that stop loss probably, but for now, yeah, I might have to move this stop loss. I'm setting it like that. If it takes out this high right here, which right now that's a 2 to 1, if it takes out that high right there, I can feel more confident in saying, hey, maybe it wants to come back up here. Maybe it could do that. All right, let's just leave it like so, like that. Let's see if we can't get this high. See if we can't take out this high. Why not try to take out that high? I am going to be TPing quick. Go ahead and lock something down on these V's if I can get it. But yeah, it's exactly for that low, honey. So you either break out or I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm gonna set an alert in here. Set an alert on. I'm gonna set an alert on that. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like when a candle eats its own tail. So I'm gonna set an alert on that bottom. Yeah. I find out you eating booty, I'm letting you go. You eat your own tail, cutting you. So alert set up on that. Let's take a look back over here at Biddy. Which happened to bounce off that lower trend there. Starting to see a little bit of a rise here on the 4 hour. Now it doesn't have the follow through, so it doesn't really tell me a whole lot. I'm just starting to see a rise on that 4 hour. Usually when I see a rise, it's bearish. Um, but without that follow through, could be looking at that short. Yeah, I'm sorry, it didn't come all the way up here, but could be looking at that short right there. That anchor VWAP that I initially had in here, um, which I think I got rid of all those VWAPs. No, that was one. That was one. This must be that other one. No, where's that other VWAP? I don't know what you belong to and put you right there. What happened to that other anchor VWAP? I deleted the wrong one or something. What was that? And then there was the anchor VWAP that was going through here. Why would I do that? Um, simple. Simple fix, though, right? Let me fix this. I'm gonna change this. Right now, this is, I mean, I could just use that to be honest with you. No, no, no. I'm just trying to find where that VWAP went to that I had. No, it was this one. It was this one because that was the initial VWAP, anchor VWAP rejection right there. And we got above it slightly right there. I could have just used that one that I had in here where you just use the bandwidth 2 and 3. Um, let's see if we can get back up here, then I'll probably consider a new short position on it from here. Just because it looks a little funky. Looks a little funky. So potential short, especially if we can't get into that liquidity. Potential short. I'm gonna sit down until it possibly gets here. If it doesn't get here, then it's just a position that I missed. I just want to make sure um, it reaches the level I would like for it to reach. We grab liquidity right here. Let me take some liquidity slightly. Took some liquidity right there. So let me darken this up because you may not be able to see it. Let me darken that up for you. Let's make it bright white right there. So we got the liquidity there, and we got this liquidity up here. But if we're getting well above this, then it doesn't really matter. Right now, I am looking to see if price action can come back to the top side of the channel, as we did just bounce off that channel low. See if we can't get that rejection. Did I ever turn volume on? There it is. There's volume. Got no volume through here. Got volume right here. Is that the one that we're looking at? No, we already looked at that one. That did its job already. I think that's some decent volume there. We have declining volume through here. We do have some decline in volume. See that? See that? You see that? Bam! Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Decline in volume through here. Got some decline in volume right here as well. And a decline in volumes right here also. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Decline in volume right there as we tap into that liquidity. You know what I wish? I wish that when you drew these lines right here, there was a way to actually anchor them to the volume bars. But as soon as you move the chart, they move. So it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I don't use the volume bars a lot. A lot. They're very useful though. They lag real bad. If you were trying to use them for a signal, I mean, you have to find the right way to use them in order to not have a lagging indicator. And that's basically just looking at highs and lows, to be honest with you. But I had to do this if I don't want that to move, right? That takes forever. That takes forever. Forever, ever, ever, ever. It looks a lot better from here. Let's get rid of that. Good volume right here. Even better volume right here. Let me drop this. That way I can just move the dang on chart because that is. Maybe we'll see a spike, another spike. If not, then we're bear diving. We're bear diving. We bear diving. This is where we tapped our low at in here, correct? But we go lower. Won't he do it? I'm liking this. I'm liking this experiment. This experiment. I'm liking it a lot. A lot. I'm gonna tell you what, since that low. Sometimes we can deceive ourselves. Sometimes we can. This would be our point of control, obviously. That would be our point of control. I got a fixed volume range in here somewhere. Yeah, I like that. This would be our point of control as opposed to this being our point of control. I like that. Can't go wrong with having both of them in here, right? This would be our value area high, and then our secondary value area high. We'll look at that. If we were to take the liquidity up here, we look at a rejection from there. How about that? How about that? Let me change this. Did a plain view. Oh, I have to extend that plain view down because it's not set to extend. All right, there we go. And I should change this blue, right? Let's see if I can. And then that way I'll know that I'm referring to the, I'm gonna do it like that. That way I know I'm referring to the point of control from the fixed volume range as opposed to the point of control from VWAP, which is this one, based on volume. It's this one. All right, we got a plan. All right, so I just wanted to show you all of this consolidation stuff that we have been doing in here on price action. I can get rid of this stuff now, and so that's what I'm gonna do. Just get rid of all of this through here. All of this nonsense we were doing over the weekend. Get rid of that. Let me change all of these to just be dash. Just be a dash, dots, or whatever. Dot. Nice little liquidity grab. We barely grabbed it. What was the high on this? 64,399. Yeah, it barely grabbed it. 64,399. It barely touched that thing. Barely touched it. Of course, our descending trend line is here. Lines, lines everywhere. Lines everywhere. We have just been kind of inside the cloud in here. Um, when I put this on, you can see how we've just sort of been, since we got this bearish rise over here, got a cloud rise right here. And then we started to break down. We did come back in right here, and we've since just kind of been holding the lows inside of here. Of course, you know, you go through and it becomes either a support area or you start to see a rise and move against you, which is what I'm starting to see on the 4-hour time frame. I'm starting to see it put in a little rise in here on the 4-hour time frame. Um, I need to get rid of that red line, so I'm going to get rid of that red line. It's showing up in here. Bitcoin. right here. Remember, we have resistance here at the top side of the channel. If we can get here, we can look at potentially entering into a short position here. That will take this little bit of liquidity that's sitting right here as well, because we barely scraped this. We barely scraped that. So, which means that we would essentially we would be breaking above this line right here. I don't like that part, but we would be breaking this descending trend line if we did that, right? We would be breaking that descending trend line. Maybe the descending trend line doesn't mean anything. Maybe price action just doesn't respect it. It's already taking liquidity over that trend line right here. So liquidity over that trend line there. Bitcoin really just wants to go up, don't it? It's starting to light up like a pine tree. We're looking like a pine tree right now. So this is where we make our decision here, if we're going to take a short or not. Right in here. I'm not going to limit order. Of course, you want to mark it in if it is doing any of that. Yeah, that was a nice breakup right there. We were just looking at this, right? That was a nice volume break right there. Nice volume break. We just tapped the descending trend line there. That's a nice volume break. You know what? I'm just looking back at those triple V's, and I'm still not trusting it. Mm. I just cut my position size a little bit on that V. I'm still holding it, of course. Could be on the verge of an expansion in here. See, we're lighting up with this neon green right here. We could be on the verge of an expansion. We'll see. In that case, we want to look higher, meaning that we have the potential of bursting through here and taking this liquidity, and then we could look for the rejection right here. So either this is more doable somewhere right in here. It's more doable, and if it's not going to be that, then it would be this right in here, right there. And I know I haven't expanded these down for a target just yet. And there was a better liquidity grab right there than before, where it was like $2 and some change of a liquidity grab previously, right there. Indecision off of that. See that indecision? That's so even off of that pop up. Right there we got bears are trying to come in here. Bulls are winning though. Right now, Bulls are winning. We get rid of this line. I'm not really looking at that, so I can get rid of it. Just wanted to see what we were doing initially right in here. Hmm. Come on, Bitcoin. Whatever you're gonna do, let's get her done. Let's get her done. I'm always cautious when we slow down because it could just be building up for that explosive move. Just a minute is leaning me towards short, whether it's a scalp or with something a little bit more. It is pointing to do a short, but not yet. Of course, we want to hit either here and see it react personally, or let me watch for this liquidity to be taken, possibly popping up here into this. Volume is decreasing at this point. Let's see. That purple looks pretty. That purple looks pretty. I like that purple. I like that purple for this triangle breakup. That triangle. See that triangle breakup right there? See that? Ding, ding, ding. Right there. This freaking triangle right here. All right. It's pushing. So it got past that one. We don't want to do that because it got past it. Um, oh boy. No reaction off of that liquidity grab right there. Nice liquidity should be sitting in here though. For the shorts that came in right here, get in and check out the shorts that came in right here, following that candle move. And again, it might be that. Let's see. I don't think that this trend line right here is um, worth it anymore. It's the second time it's actually broken above it. I'm still looking for it to break it, obviously. If you were to take it from there, I would have a tight stop for the same area because it is this trend line right here. That's not even tight, is it? Is that? Yes, it is. It's 0.27. It's a 0.27. If you were to do that, and then of course, drag this down to here, 4.36 there. Otherwise, let's see what we get if we manage to get past it and take out this liquidity right here. Come up here, you see something broken, and then see a rejection. Then I'm going to give her a shot. We are expanding. Let me just say that we are expanding on the 15-minute time frame. As you can see, again, I said the green, the neon green, that's where you get a Bollinger expansion at. So if I take a look at Bollinger Band, you can see we are getting an expansion right here. You can see turn down. We had tight consolidation in here around this rising structure right here. And we're getting a break to the upside, which is where that green comes in from. It's a different green on that Bollinger than it is right here. Okay, here we go. 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 Not even looking at this because we're getting up here to this liquidity now. Drop this. How bad was that? Let me see. 4.7, that's not bad. 4.7 is not bad. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? All right, enough of this. I'm not going to keep messing with this trend line. It's done. We broke it. I probably should put a note in here, right? Keep it as a reminder. We did break it again. Bitcoin is insistent upon going higher. Oh my gosh, it is insistent upon going higher. Let me see if our 4-hour trend line, which is a lot better. Let's sync this trend line right here. Oh, I have one over here too. Looks different here. That didn't sync over here though. This is Binance. Turn into the one below. There it is. Oh, it's right there. Look at it. It's right there. It comes in right here at that VWAP right there. Coincidence, maybe. This is enticing. This is very enticing. Mm. Very enticing rejection. But I mean, I don't know. Then we do have an expansion in here, Bollinger Band expansion, which took place off of this. Let's see, one more dang on triangle. Boy, I tell you, sick of these triangles. Lots of activity right in here. I'm still waiting to see if we don't push up a little higher in here to get this. I feel more confident in shorting from there as opposed to a trend line that I just had to move. Um, with this liquidity sitting in here. Now, mind you, yesterday on Bitcoin, we did not take this low right here. We didn't take that low, and also the golden pocket was sitting there as well. So we didn't do that. Is that the game we're playing again right now? Maybe. I'm gonna clean the chart up a little bit in here by taking that away. Yeah, everything is. I mean, it's nice bullish. I mean, it's an expansion. I wouldn't expect anything less than to start seeing all of this greenery. Hmm. Are we gonna break it this time? We'll find out. We shall find out. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Could this be another rejection, or will we get above here and just kind of dance and go higher? Or are we going to roll over again for another rejection? Bearing in mind that the more you tap, 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 the more you tap, 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 the likely you are to break. Still looks pretty decent. Still looks pretty decent. It's getting to a point where it is going to give some sort of a small correction in here. I can see that on this 15-minute time frame. It is starting to get a little heated in here. That suggests that it would be able to speed race itself all the way back down here, probably around this top right here. It could potentially do that in here, back into this high. I'm still waiting before I enter into that short. I do still have a short position open right now, which allows me to be a little bit more patient with my decisions, not rushing to jump into jump into it. Maybe oh, I just missed you again, I think. Let's go, False Move Monday. Let's go. Good morning, Y Crypto YT. How are you, my friend? Trying to find a little short. Trying to find a short position in here. I'm assuming that we could get up to here again. Looking at the prior rejection points in here. Doesn't mean that this time it has to reject because we've hit it um, one, two, three times we've hit it. And this is drawn from lower. This is drawn from my lows around 60,000. This trend line here is drawn from the lows of 60,000 right here. And we've hit it one, two, three times and rejected all three times off of it. But at some point, price action could break through here. It looks like right in here, we may be around a 0.886. Well, a little bit too high for it to be a 786. We're way too high for it to be that. Okay, but we are rejecting back underneath the 786. Okay. So we did not manage to close uh, above the 786 range with the trend line right there, which I did have to move. So this trend line has been disrespected. This one right here that's descending down, this one has been disrespected more than once. More than once now. So I moved it. Actually, it only was disrespected this one time right here. I moved it here, so this is the second time that we're actually kinda we'll find out if we're actually disrespecting it from this point, but I don't like it because we did actually close above it back over here. So it may not have any merit. It likely doesn't. If I have to move you around, probably don't have any merit. I had a lot of volume come out of this candle right here. Where we got this rejection from that occasion. So liquidity grab is what I'm looking for. And when we take that liquidity, I'm looking to see if we pop back into this trend line, and then that's a point where I can go short. So that's the plan. Thinking of a master plan. And then after that, we'll be calling it a stream. I appreciate you for hanging out with your girl down to Crypto TA. I didn't even get into the stock market today. I wanted to see what oil was doing, and I do want to take a look at SPY. I didn't get a chance to do either one of those since I started streaming. I can see that USDT dominance as I was looking at it over here, and I was just explaining how you keep tapping into a trend line. Then you are, I'm going to set an alert on this. set the alert on that. That will pop up on the screen, and you'll also be able to hear it when that happens. Just wanted to come back in here for anybody. I was talking about the fact that if you keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping, then you probably can break it. So that's the idea behind that trend line that we have right now. We do have VWAP and Confluence with that trend line up there as well. It's actually band 2 in Confluence with the trend line on Bitcoin, just like we did over here on USDT dominance. We did come back up and tap the resistance line in here, which is where you see in Bitcoin create that secondary bottom there. And you know, let's just say that Bitcoin is about to do this number right here, the same way USDT dominance did it. Then we would see USDT dominance actually break back below this trend line this time, and I would expect for it to be successful. So just to recap from today's show, this right here. The other thing that I recapped on was that the low that we put in around that 60 something $1,000, my cloud is showing me that that's our low. It is where we have bottomed out every bear market in history. Can it change? Yes, it can fail. It can fail because nothing is ever going to be 100%. At some point, things will fail. So that was another recap here from the stream. Was that? Hold on. I'm so sorry. I was just talking to you and telling you this right here. Again, this is the recap of what I'm thinking that Bitcoin has the potential to do with that ascending trend line that's coming off of the lows at the 60,000. It's tap, 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 because it's already tapped it 3 times. It could decide that it wants to break through it this time. We did hold support here on Tether. We came back up and we hit the resistance level right here. So that's a secondary bounce just getting off of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does this number right here, the same way USDT dominance did it, then I would expect for us to actually break this line this time and actually see a rollover on Tether, because like I said, we reclaimed it in here. We had this pattern formation right here at the time as well. And so then nice wick rejection. Nice wick rejection for Bitcoin. Nice wick rejection. Bears are trying to step into here. The other thing, like I said, is right here on this daily. The cloud has claimed this as a low throughout every bear market, and it has held. And we tapped it when we tapped right here. Like we tapped it exactly. I did explain that. Let me hide my drawings. I did explain that this was and you have to look at it from a monthly. I did explain that this was the one time right in here where it did like prick over it right here. This was that one time right here where we got that extra little drop right here on Bitcoin right there, because this would have claimed it as the low, but that's the only time that we ever disrespected it. Every other time we never did that before, except this one point right here. It could classify as the low. Initially, it was here. I remember I had my bear market low box drawn in here. From the rejections in here, I had the bear market bottom marked out to this low, assuming that we would not take out this low. So that's always the idea, that you don't take out that low. And this is saying that we could possibly be at that low, unless it's going to do one of these right here. That this is it. And again, historically, you don't go below that. You don't go below it historically. But what do I know? What do I know? What do I know? And so we're also back at, how did we get this time? This is, weekly 64,751. So you can see 64,748. And at some point yesterday, maybe we hit 64,7 Yeah, yesterday we hit 64,751. So we did here's right here on this one. Try again to get above that. I'm gonna drop mention how this one for now since I'm working with this one. Working with this one. And then you can see how we disrespected that descending trend line. Like that's the second time we disrespected it. The only reason why you can't tell it so much now is because I moved it from there to here. So you can see we're not closing above it right now. This is the this line right here is where momentum peaked at. Well, yeah, where it reversed from last time. But we're also seeing our slight rejection from as well, saying that this was where momentum got to the last time before seeing a rejection. Well, it actually went above it, but then it rejected back down below it. So I'm gonna put this back. At least I have one that's not going along with me. Let's see how we didn't. We closed above it here. We had a struggle with it there. Looks like we're struggling over here, but we do have a bit of an expansion in here. I do like that top and tail candle. It's a high wave candle, which you can get a couple of high wave candles right here before you reject. Bitcoin is known for putting in this high wave um, candlestick formation. Very much known for it. I would have to close like that, and that's just where you have these long wicks on both sides of the pattern with the short body. That's what a high wave candle is, and it usually put in like maybe 3 high wave candles going up through here. So essentially, they create like a rising wedge or something like that from a lower time frame. You end up creating like a rising wedge. Don't have a lot of examples right now to show you, but um, it is a very common theme with Bitcoin to do that high wave pattern. I'm really hoping that the 15 minute is again showing some signs of exhaustion. I'm hoping that it doesn't reject from here and it gives us more exhaustion from this high. That would be better. Because at least we'll know the liquidity is taken. You enter now, you can, and it might just reject from there. It might just reject from this 786, and this ascending trend line right here. So how far does it get to? Since we did just get an expansion, I would say that it probably wouldn't do any more than this prior high right here, up into this wick right here, and at least away from here. It just seems like a better option. Yep, we're putting in high waves right here. Let's see if we get another high wave candle right through here. Looking for liquidity to be taken and another tap here for rejection if we can get that. Otherwise they've already made their decision. Otherwise they've made their decision. And this is for me. I know some YouTube channels make fun of people who draw these circles, but I don't care. This ain't their stream. This mine. I like reference. I like highlighting stuff to say this is why this exists. This is why it exists. It's always the haters, though. It's always the haters. Can I get that? I don't guess I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna wait on it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. Okay. Okay. Just let me know that Bitcoin, you heard that alarm. Bitcoin just grabbed that liquidity from that top side there, looking to see if we can take the liquidity for a push back into here. That'd be great. That'd be great. We're pushing. We're either going to reject or we're going to get a USDT dominance break to the upside. Well, we're going to get a Bitcoin break of this trend line. We're either going to, I mean, that's all it can do, right? That's all it can do. That's a petty liquidity sweep. Petty liquidity sweep. Petty. But it's 8 o'clock. You already know what I'm looking at. So if we get the reaction there, momentum starts to roll back over on that, I will be taking the short entry from there. If momentum doesn't roll over, because you can see it's still purple is purple, which is, still very purple, as we are getting a break above here. Still very purple. So maybe it'll slow down, show some consolidation first, and then start to roll over instead of a V shape drop down. Maybe to do that. But that is what I'm watching for. Again, I appreciate you for being here, hanging out with your girl down to Crypto TA. I will see you in the morning at 6 a.m. We'll see if this plays out. If it doesn't, then I just have to move on and look at the next territory. And I can go ahead and tell you, because I am going to continue to use this anchored VWAP situation right here. So if we are, I like that. It got it a little bit better. I like that a little bit better. A little bit better. 70,000 is what I think the absolute high would be in a more bullish scenario. Are we bullish enough for that? Oof, I don't know if we're bullish enough for that. That's 66,000. This is the VWAP we never came back up to. I think we rejected from it one time. Yeah, we rejected from it one time right here, where you see this red one that we rejected from that one time right there. It's somewhere around 66,000, I suppose. It would be, of course, it's not going to be this 15-minute, because we're not about to get there on this 15-minute. We're just not about to do it. Not before we see a drop down first. We're just not going to do it. We're putting in another high wave candle right here. So we're at the rejection point. Nice liquidity grab, rejection right there. Nice liquidity grab, rejection right there. I'm being petty. I'm going to need it to come all the way. I need it to come all the way. Otherwise, like I said, I will look for momentum to curve down. And right now it's still up. All right.